Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Shonen and Chill, hosted by Zenrotto and Asaratha.
Not for long.
I I almost messed the intro up because I was like, wait, I didn't say Kagurabachi and Chill. Are we still doing that bit? I didn't know. I almost fucked it up. All right, yeah. So, oh man, might as well get it out of the way now, because otherwise the rage is gonna permeate all of the discussion until we do. Martial Master
Perhaps.
Asumi getting the axe.
It's just tragic, man.
It's
Like
unfortunate
I
because that was one that regardless of whether like how interesting you thought it was, I thought it was very good. Like it was well structured, it was
just
interesting, the
just
fights were good.
just an
Um,
atrocity, man. Like I understand that Weekly Shonen Jump access things, and not everything can run forever. But and obviously I wouldn't be this mad, but I would say the same for New A's if it got axed, right? It's just depressing
it is. I
to
think any
see
cancellation is sad.
to see all of these creative ventures. Like you either get axed because fuck off, or like you get morphed by editorial until you're unrecognizable, like Mama Yu
Like Mama Yu Yu. Yeah, that was actually where I was gonna go next. Is like,
Yu.
because Mama Yu Yu started out. I literally can't even say that it looks like the same series, like at all.
Yeah,
It's like full on harem shit now.
yeah.
And I don't know if that's because they saw how New is doing really well and they were like, what if we did that? Because it's like not a normal thing at all for like a shonen series to be that like not at least headliners in Jump to be
Mhm.
that like blatant about it. Um, I don't know, man. It's really sad. And his author comment was really uh, it hit me in the gut, I guess I'll say.
It's
'Cause he
just
was
it's this weird medium of like I get that you can't keep every series in Weekly Shonen Jump running forever. I understand that. That makes sense. But I think it can also coexist. It's just a tragedy, dude. It's just
yeah,
like it's
well,
just a
with the advent of like Jump Plus and all that stuff, it almost makes you
Mhm.
wonder like why can't you just release it online?
it's just because Weekly Shonen Jump just needs to go. Is the really what it comes down to.
Yeah, well, I think the Weekly Shonen Jump model is pretty outdated. But the problem is
Yeah,
moving away from that model, even though it's the worst, it will make them less money in the long run. So they're not gonna
I
do it until they have
know.
no choice because that's how capitalism is.
I
Um,
know.
but I just don't think I fully understand why, even if you want to perpetuate the elite magazine of all the hottest stuff or whatever that they do with the weekly releases, with Jump Plus existing, this is almost like a genuine question. What is the logic for not just moving something over there if it has any following at all, right?
So you don't have to keep paying them.
But how much do they make? They can't make that. Like I was under the
They
impression they didn't make that much without making like residuals and stuff.
they probably don't, but now they don't pay them anything. So
I guess, yeah.
how
I
about
mean, I
you?
guess that's true. Um, I don't know. It's just sad. It's real sad. And then apparently they're having like a shortage of assistants or something. I'm not
Oh
fully up
really?
on this, but it comes up in Chainsaw Man discourse every week
Oh
because Fujimoto uses photocopies of guns instead of drawing the gun.
yeah, we'll talk about that. That's
Yeah.
something to talk about.
Um, and every time that comes up, there's always two crowds. There's the oh my god, Fujimoto's a fraud crowd, and then there's the he literally has no assistants. He's drawing all of this alone right now because there's an assistant shortage
Interesting. I didn't
crowd.
know that.
I don't know the details of it. It's just what I saw on Twitter. It could just be people lying, but it comes up all the time when I look at this discourse. So I
Hmm.
assume it's either true or it's a lie that has really stuck around. One of the two things. Um, so yeah, that's something. His author comment was very sad. He said that
Yeah.
it is something akin to like, God, I'm such an amateur. This is why I don't sell books, which sucks. It reminded me of Horikoshi saying he has nightmares of when his other
Yeah.
series got canceled. And I was like, God, that sucks so much.
This industry is terrible, man.
It's really awful, and you like it sucks because this is like the way that they live, because they want to
Hmm.
they want to do this as their profession,
Mhm.
and they have like no control over whether or not they persist or don't persist.
Mhm.
Like, can you really say Martial Master in 30 chapters was any worse than, say, like Jujutsu Kaisen was at that point in time? I think that would be pretty hard to argue. Um, I don't. I mean, how long did Martial Master even go? Is it 32 chapters?
Something like that.
32. Yeah. Okay. So the 32nd chapter of JJK is when they reveal that Yuji didn't die in the
Mhm.
Kyoto Goodwill arc. So I'm like,
Which, if that was shortly after Gege was afraid of the axe, right? So,
yes, he was afraid of the axe and killed Yuji during the juvenile detention thing. The
yeah.
axe never came. And then, I mean, okay, so they did do the Mahito and Junpei stuff before that, which I do think was
Mhm.
actually very, very good. So maybe Jujutsu Kaisen did earn its place around that point. But even then, like, that was 7 chapters before they decided that Martial Master needed to go.
Yeah.
For They announced the series that's taking its place, by the way.
I
I
saw,
just
yeah.
saw it. I already don't remember the name. It's another fucking ghost exorcist thing, dude.
Yippee.
Or I don't. Maybe it's not. It looks like one, but they're talking about it's like about human evolution or something. Um, it looks like really much like it's an exorcist thing, like visually, but
Yeah.
the maybe it isn't one. I don't know. I don't know.
Let it cook, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'll let it try. I'm just saying, you better come in hot after you kill off a good series to earn your place. Um, Mama Yu. Let's talk about Mama Yu a little bit. Um, so
It's a series of all time, man.
it is a series. Did you see the last page of chapter 21, the most recent one?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the worst page I've ever seen. Um,
I mean, I'm sure some of you guys remember when this manga first started, I was talking pretty highly of it. The first few chapters, like, this is
I
actually
thought it looked
I like.
interesting too. It had
Yeah.
like, have you ever seen? This is not a great comparison, but it's a little bit of a. You ever read Beat the Vandal Buster?
No.
So it's a really old series that I think ended up. Yeah, I don't think it got canceled. I think it got put on indefinite hiatus because the author got sick and he just
Mhm.
never came back to it.
Oh, sad.
Um, yeah, very sad. But it kind of felt like this in that it was like a fantasy world and it had like
Mhm.
RPG-ish elements to it. You know how like everyone pointed out in the beginning, this kind of felt like Dragon Quest almost when
Yeah.
this first started coming out. It was a lot like that, and so I was really excited for it because I was like, oh, this is neat. You know, it's gonna be like a shonen kind of demons versus humans thing, but also with like RPG inspiration to it and that kind of thing. And now it's just complete garbage,
Yeah.
total schlock crap.
Had a lot of cool stuff. I was really interested in the dynamic between allegedly the mother and
Well,
the
it's
main
literally
character,
the
but
name of the
apparently
series.
apparently that
She's
shit
never coming
don't
back.
matter.
She's never coming back. She has lived out her usefulness. Um,
Very sad because I thought it could have been very cool.
they're pushing this series really hard. Um,
Yeah.
in stuff, Jump is doing the whole Gege Akutami wants you to read this,
Yeah.
which
That
fine.
alone, plus for Kagurabachi, makes me think that those two are sticking around for quite some time.
Yeah, the
Um.
the weird timing of Horikoshi and Akutami both giving a
Mhm.
push to 2 series at like literally the same day at the same event. I was like, okay,
Mhm.
that these are the designated ones to stick around. Um, I don't remember what Mama Yu's sales figures were because I was so laser to hone in on Kagurabachi. Um,
Kagurabachi saved me.
yeah, save me Kagurabachi, please.
I can
I
see if I can
remember them
find it
being
real quick.
okay. I think it was like 25th ish, which is
I
pretty
can look
good.
for it.
Yeah, see if we can. I can pull it up too and try to find it. I don't remember the name of the guy that I look
Oh no, it's taking longer than 5 seconds. I'm getting bored.
at. Everyone's signing out. Um,
Don't worry, guys. I'll keep you entertained. Uh, ReZero's
when
author recommended New Age Exorcist.
did he really?
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm so
Uh,
sorry.
it's not great, buddy. It's not great,
Okay,
but
so
we're trying.
Mama Yu it ended being not ranked, which I don't know necessarily what that means.
So, okay,
Um,
I found February 5th daily ranking. This was when Kagurabachi was number 4.
uh-huh.
I think this was the first day or something like that. I don't
Okay.
recall. Mama Yu is 21, so it's not bad. Like
No,
that's good.
this is the end of it is right here. Our first week of February volumes. The only
Hmm.
series that managed to rank were Black Clover, Elusive Samurai, Undead Unluck, Kagurabachi, and Nue's Exorcist. Mama Yu Yu and Two on Ice did not. Um, it says right here, Shoseki's
Okay,
estimates for that Mama Yu Yu sold about 4,800 copies.
that's okay, right? I think that's fine.
I I think. I mean, it's not again whatever
Okay,
not ranked means. I don't pay enough attention to sales figures of this. Kagurabachi,
I
by comparison, sold about 12,000.
I found the day one release of their volumes. Number one was Black Clover. Number four was Kagurabachi. Number eight was Nue's Exorcist. Number 11 was Undead Unluck. Number 25 was Mama Yu Yu. Number 181 was Two on Ice. So that's a
Two on
goner.
Ice is gone for sure. Yeah, absolutely goner
Yeah.
for sure. I think everyone kind of felt that way the minute that it came out.
Yeah.
Um, which sucks, but like it's just not the kind of. I think that would have been better in not a shonen magazine. Um,
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was cool.
I
Sometimes.
think it's a neat premise. I just don't think a shonen audience is gonna
Yeah.
care about ice dancing. Um, so yeah, I mean it's doing like okay, not insane, but okay. Probably
I think
better
it's
than most of the other. I think that like just by virtue again of stuff like greens and everything, like it's not going to
yeah.
get cut. But it seems to be doing pretty bad in the table of contents. I mean, again, we talk about that doesn't matter. Um, I
It
don't think
probably
it
matters
particularly a
like a
little,
little bit.
yeah. It's like a piece of the puzzle, I'm sure. But it's
Yeah.
bottom three again this week. Um, it
Oof.
seems to be in the bottom three like all the time. I just don't know. Like, is the push working or is Jump pushing it or like what's the is the pivot to the
It seems to be working. Although I guess the push is like volume two stuff, right?
yeah.
Or maybe even three. No, volume two, volume two. So we might not even really know until volume two because volume one is the good content, if I recall. So
Yes, volume one is the stuff
that
that's
was
actually good. But
that
again,
was based.
our
That
version of what's actually good does
Yeah,
not
that's true. That's true.
mesh with like the Coomer
So
society.
it could be relatively soon. So the way I see it is the stuff we thought was good is volume one. The reader surveys were probably not splendid, so they pushed it to something else, and we'll see how that worked out in volume two.
I mean, yeah, that could definitely be it. I don't know, man. I just can't help but think like, did making this pivot have the success that they were hoping that it would, or is it gonna be a case of where it sacrifices itself and then nothing happens,
Mm-hmm.
or it like part of me, I'm coping so hard by the way, this is never gonna happen. Um, Part of me is like, what if it's doing an undead unlock where it's like, you know what? Let me save my life first and then go back to being good. And it just isn't that's not gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. But like what's the is the end goal really just to grab on to whatever, you know, whatever they said about Mama Yu Yu, the true otaku life, to try to
Oh, you mean new
survive.
ways?
Yeah, yeah, anyways, yeah, yeah. Whatever they said, you don't understand true
grab the
otaku
Coomers,
society. Yeah,
grab the
grab as many
Coomers, and
Coomers as
then
you
figure it
can.
out.
Yeah, and figure it out from later, because that kind of is kind of what Undead Unluck did too. Started off
Yeah.
super Coomer brain and then it abandoned it completely. Um, I don't know. It's just kind of sad because you see a series that, in my opinion, was very good with Martial Master. Had a lot of heart, had a lot of
Hmm.
interesting stuff going on. Completely just nothing came of it, and then it got cut.
Yeah.
And then you have Mama Yu Yu, which started out super interesting and not unique necessarily, but with an interesting twist on a very established premise,
Yeah.
and that's gone.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah,
And then
so
the Coomer bring took it. Do you also want to talk about Weekly Shonen Jump leaks being rattled forever?
did we not talk about that last time?
I don't think
No, I
so.
talked to Wokey about this. Yeah, so
So
the leaker raids.
there is I have to choose my words very carefully. There's a lot I'm not allowed to talk about regarding this subject.
Okay.
So I have to choose my words very carefully. The most I will say is that it's very funny. It's very, very funny. Um, dude, 2 arrests were made, and so many people closed up shop like instantly. People were like, "We're done. Like we're not we're not fucking with the Japanese SWAT team no more." And this was recorded on February 15th, so this is probably not applicable when this goes up. But right now, what MHA leaks still aren't out. Like it's altered forever, basically. A lot of people are
Yeah.
like,
Wait, they're
"I'm not
not
going to
out still?
prison." No, people are. I'm pretty sure people are like, "I'm not going to jail over MHA." Now, JJK and One Piece,
I was about to say because
maybe I can do that.
JJKs are, which is really funny. If the person who has the book and is leaking the other stuff is like, mm-mm.
I'm pretty sure they just don't want to risk it for MHA, which is really funny. It's
But when you
really
already
funny.
risked it, it doesn't really make a difference anymore if you risk it for more
I
things,
I
right?
guess not, but maybe I don't know. I don't know why. It just seems that nobody has an
Or the
interest in leaking
leaker
MHA.
themselves, like maybe they, because I'm sure it's some big pyramid bullshit thing, I'm sure, where people get the magazine because we already know from Mia that he buys the chapters or whatever that
Yes.
they pay for
So the
them.
way it works is there are stores that get the magazine early because obviously they want to have access to the magazine to put it out in time for when it's supposed to go live. Uh, and people who work, like for example, at JD World, that's the one that got
They
the guy who
got
worked at JD World got
yeah, they
arrested.
got him.
Um, People would pay him to take pictures or scans. I think it's usually pictures of the magazine, and then I don't know exactly how much it costs. I've gotten a couple different figures. Uh, I think sometimes I've heard as low as like $20 just for some pictures of the magazine, and then people post it online. Sometimes translated, sometimes not, and that's what happens. Um, the guy, one of the guys who got arrested, worked. I don't remember if he owned or if he worked at JD World, and he was one of the people primarily providing these really early Wednesday leaks, and that's why they don't happen anymore. It's because the guy who was doing them is gone.
Is in the
Yeah,
slammer.
he's in the slammer. So Thursday, we were supposed to go back to Wednesday, Thursday leaks, and clearly that's not working out for everyone. Apparently, I think someone I saw someone posted a screenshot in my Discord. There was just like a fundamental difference with the shipping cycle. Like Shueisha seemingly changed up how early these magazines come in, so that's why they were late to begin with. And now some series just aren't getting leaks at all. So that Sakamoto Days leaker was a short-lived tenure.
Yeah, that dude got literal 15 minutes of fame. Man, it's weird though because again, like you'd think the only thing I can think of because once you're leaking one thing, they're gonna get you regardless, right?
Mhm.
I don't think it's quite like a like murder where like as long as you don't leak
Yeah,
4 series, it's not a
it might just be like maybe you get multiple charges if you leak multiple different IPs.
maybe my thought process is now that it's more dangerous, they might have upped the price.
True, yeah, exactly, yeah, and people aren't willing to pay for MHA.
Right, and people aren't willing to pay for the MHA ones because like JJK and One Piece, like
Like
those are the
in all
boys right
fair,
now.
yes, in all fairness to MHA, this is not slander. JJK and One Piece are just drastically more popular. That's just how it
Right.
is.
I mean, yeah,
This
it's
is how
just
it
we're gonna get people who shit on that in the comments. It's and we're not. This is not slander. This is
is.
just that
It,
JJK and One Piece are the most
we're
popular
not
weekly
we're not
releases in the world right
judging
now.
we're not judging its quality objectively by the metrics. It's more popular. That's just
Right.
how it is.
And so, the whole point of the whole like leak culture is just clout and like hype, right? Like there's no like, oh, I'm gonna do it for because the series that I love that much. It's just like people want to get the hype of putting it up. And so if it becomes too expensive to put MHA up, that's funny. Um, Dude, this shit's so weird. There's like a whole black market of 4 days in advance manga content.
Yeah, it's like it's. I have a lot to say about it, but I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll wait. Never hate. Just wait your turn. That's all I'll
Yeah,
say.
yeah, yeah. All right.
But it's really funny, man. Like
all,
this leak
all,
shit gets
all
serious,
the
bro.
memes about them getting Miyamura were so fucking funny. They had that man up on a board in a fucking police
That
station.
dude, that picture
The
is
evidence board is
crazy.
insane.
I would have personally, I would have packed it up, dude. I would have been
Yeah,
all right.
I mean he's not even in Japan, so like no one's gonna
Yeah,
extradite him for posting comic pages online. That ain't gonna happen. But like,
I'm not gonna fuck around and find out.
yeah, I don't want to know if it would happen, right?
I'm
Like,
also not gonna contribute to some fucking poor Japanese manga store employee going to prison.
yeah, that's kind of like that left a weird, funky taste in my mouth after that
Mhm.
when the people got arrested and the news was out. And all the leakers, like all they said was like, "I'm so sorry, all of my Twitter followers. Leaks are going to be a day late." Like, you got somebody
You
arrested,
got a guy
brother.
arrested, yeah.
You got a dude who's going to jail.
You got a dude doing time,
No
so
honor
you
among
can
thieves, I guess, dog. Like,
so you
god
can
damn.
post a manga early, bro.
Yeah, like that was your hookup, dude.
My favorite tweet that I saw the day like of the arrests was like manga fans when they have to go from waiting 7 days for a manga to waiting 7 days for manga.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
It, it it'll never like fully go away. Like we'll probably always have at least Friday leaks, but like we would be so much better off without them. Holy shit, man.
Yeah, I just don't really like it's fun when they come out, but I feel like it's not any different than just waiting until the magazine comes out. I'm not really understanding like I just getting to know sooner. But then
It's
also
just
you just it's the same amount of time.
and like the worst part is you get them from leakers who get things wrong and feed you like piece by piece to generate all this extra hype to get more views on their tweets so they can buy Twitter Blue and they get all these ads on their fucking tweets, get all this revenue. When if you just waited for Sunday, everyone would have the same experience except all at once. And
Yeah, all at the same time and it would be fine. I just it's
and and the benefit would be that these people who genuinely do nothing but pay for a magazine and post it on Twitter wouldn't have giant swaths of parasocial fans. It's just a big W, a massive W if they went away.
yeah, I don't really see the hype behind it. Like I read them because if I don't read them, I'm gonna see them all over my timeline the
Yeah,
next
I
day
mean,
anyway, so I don't have a
like
choice really.
yeah, like we're online. I'm not gonna log off just because
Yeah,
of a
I'm
fucking
not
comic book
putting
leak.
my head in the sand over it.
And also, you and I are shonen creators. People sometimes go to my comment section and immediately just post like what happened in the leak chapters. So I there's nothing I can do really.
Right.
So as long as they exist, I'm just gonna see it for myself. Um, but God, I wish these leakers were gone. Holy shit, man.
Yeah, the whole leak culture thing. And it's never like in a positive way either. It's always like yelling and like all the stuff about the I'm not gonna talk about what happened, but there was a big thing in the JJK leaks this past week and everyone's at each other's throats about it already. And it's like, dude, just wait a week for the next chapter to answer your fucking question. What are you talking about?
Dude, my favorite part. I think we talked about this before. This was really funny when somebody posted the leaks like a couple months ago before Maya, I don't remember how you say his name. And he got really mad. It was like, "Don't post leaks under my tweets of leaks." It's like, are you fucking real, dude?
Oh
Do you
yeah,
remember that?
that
That
was
was
so
so
funny.
funny, dude.
Don't spoil the leaks.
Dude, like, now you know how Shueisha feels, buddy.
I know. Oh my god, yeah, that was hilarious. That was such a good
I mean,
throwback.
all it comes down to, and I mean this with 100% of my heart, the only reason why he cares is because he has Twitter Blue, and his tweets get up to 1 million views per tweet. That's it.
Yeah, I mean that makes
That's why he
sense.
was mad about it.
Yeah. And on one hand, I guess I want to be like, hey, you gotta respect the hustle or whatever, but like, just shut the fuck up, dude. Like, nobody gives a shit. The weird like ego posting and like peacocking they all do and stuff is so weird, dude. Nobody. I think it's weird about leak culture because I don't think any leaker understands that nobody cares about them. And I
Yeah.
don't mean this in like a you're a waste of space way or whatever. I mean that none of those people who interact with your air quotes content because it's literally just stolen content, but none of the people who interact with that care about you as a person. They just want what
Hmm.
you're giving them immediately, which is probably partly why he was so freaked when the other place started doing it sooner.
Yeah.
Because he was like, oh shit, like literally my only value is reposting what someone else does already. And so if other people start doing that sooner than I can do it, then I'm going to lose all my,
Yeah.
clique or group or whatever that I have that gets me all my money.
It's like a good example is Atsushi had a ton of loser fans who were always at his beck and call, especially when he was trying to resell stolen fan art. But now that he's gone, who talks about him? Who cares?
Literally,
Nobody,
yeah.
because they all flocked to Rukasu and Dabi's pole dance and Justice when she was around. And when they were gone, in like 3 minutes when they get arrested, somebody else will come up, and nobody will talk about Rukasu or Dabi's pole dance ever again.
Yep, not a chance. Same with like,
Yeah.
I think the only one that might not apply to, and I don't mean that people care about them as a person, but I think that people will talk about them after their time, is Mia, because he's so
Mm-hmm.
fucking ridiculous. Like as an existence, he's just a crazy person, and
Yeah.
so like I
Uh,
think
the, the,
people
the, the,
will
the,
remember it. It's memorable,
yeah. The thing with him is that he's very defensive over what he does. Whereas Atsushi, you would make fun of him, he would just ignore you, or he would reply to you, which is like cry harder. He just didn't give a fuck.
right?
But like people will, yeah, they'll remember him for being kind of a crybaby about it.
Yeah, well, because like not only is he like a crybaby about it, but remember the post that he made when the arrest started happening? Where he was
Uh
like, I don't know what's gonna happen to me, but this is the
oh yeah.
craziest time of my life. I'm gonna tell my grandkids about these days, and everyone was like, shut the fuck up.
Imagine your grandpa sits you down and he's like, one time I used to illegally post content
I
online and
used
be
to,
like, Grandpa, that's what we do today. We do that right now.
I used to spend a bunch of money on uh,
Oh yeah. I
hazy
used to pay
photographs of
I used
other
to
people's comic books and post them
I used
online.
to pay money to commit copyright infringement, and they're gonna be like, "Grandpa, we do that for free." Grandpa,
Grandpa, what the fuck are you talking about?
we torrented Final Fantasy 23 last week.
Oh my god, dude.
Your grandpa got someone in Japan arrested once. Well, why'd that happen?
I changed the
Oh,
trajectory of one Japanese family's life forever.
oh, like in a good way? No, I got him arrested. Oh, what happened? He was the guy I was buying the manga from to commit copyright infringement.
That's
You're just gonna have to
so
work
like,
really hard to embellish that story because that's gonna be a lame ass fucking story, dude. If I was a grandkid, holy shit, I'd be fucking
yeah, you
snoozing.
better like say that the Japanese SWAT team was in the city coming for
Yeah,
you, and you like remember the scene from Captain America: Civil War when the Winter Soldier's like beating up those dudes and flipping
yeah.
out? You better say that was you fighting off the Japanese SWAT team, because I guarantee you, your grandkids do not want to hear that you had a moderately popular Twitter following for like a year.
Yeah. I had 600,000 Twitter followers, and none of them cared about me when I got arrested.
Not a single person gave a shit.
They all unfollowed me and just went to Ducky instead.
Well, I mean, that's what happened to Ducky to begin with, because Ducky came
Yeah,
out
true.
before Mia. Everyone bailed on Ducky to go to Mia, and now they're
Yeah.
just gonna bail on Mia and go back.
Yeah, because now Ducky posts them first, too. Oh, dude, I bet me I was so pissed off about that.
Yeah, and not wait, did Ducky post the screens first? I thought he just did the text summary like Rikasu does.
I don't remember exactly what happened, but I know that he definitely posted about the leaks first. And I bet Maya was like really mad about that.
Fucking leaker on leaker violence out here in the streets, bro. So crazy, dude. It's like I can't wrap my head around this whole. There's a like, you know how in mob movies there's like the Don, which I guess is the person
Yeah,
who has the
yeah,
book, and then he's got like the subsets of different families that are like vying for his like affection
uh-huh.
and his like attention. That's like all the JJK leakers that are like,
Dude, like the more I learn about the situation, the more I think that this is just like, so you know how like mafias deal in like millions of dollars,
uh-huh.
like tens of millions of dollars. This is the mafia, but they deal with like hundreds of dollars. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like a not a very significant amount of money.
Yeah, it's like, wow, you're doing all this for like a couple $100 on Twitter Blue, huh? You sent a man to jail for like $100 on your 1 million view tweet. That's crazy, bro.
You gotta do. And then everyone was like, I have no sympathy for him. he knew what he did. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not saying you should have sympathy for the guy that leaked the book, even though I don't
I
think
mean,
leaking
like,
a book is worth jail, personally.
it's not that big of a deal.
It's not
It's
that
just
big. But like
ultimately,
the
and like,
audacity of
yeah,
like not giving a shit about it is insane.
this will apply to the leakers too, obviously, because we have more than a third grader's understanding of like socioeconomic factors. But like, these people aren't doing this for no reason. Like the people who are taking the pictures on the fucking boots on the ground in Japan, they're making a living, probably like quite literally. This is probably paying their bills. You don't do it for no reason a lot of the time. So I have sympathy, even for the leakers to some extent. Like these, Maya's got Twitter Blue. He probably makes a couple $100. Maybe it helps makes ends meet sometimes. I have sympathy for that. Still funny though,
It is fun. Yeah, like it's probably nice to get that little bit of money, but just for me,
Yeah.
it's like maybe I'm an old-fashioned criminal. But like when you're, in college or whatever, when you're the guy who would get the alcohol for everyone, you didn't just sell that guy out and be like, "Sorry, party goers, the alcohol is going to be a little later because my hookup's in prison."
Gotta
Like,
go find a new one. Let me hit the street real quick and find
let me
another fucking
quickly
20
find
something.
another hookup and sorry you're in jail. Like, come on, man. Where's some solidarity here?
It's like the guy that brings the alcohol has like zero recognition for it. And like you take it out of his hands, you're like, look what I brought,
Look
guys.
what
And the
I've
guy's
got.
like, what the fuck?
Also, I think it was Pineapple who was tweeting this, and he was like, apparently they got caught because they were selling merch.
I cannot confirm or deny that. I actually don't know.
It
I
was
just
something. This is totally amusing, so I could be like completely wrong. I'm just trying to remember what it is that he said, but it was something like the the leaks had the store like logo on it, like for advertising, and people were like, "Oh,
oh,
that's where they're coming from." Like they just outed themselves.
I don't remember if that's true or not. I don't know. But it's very funny if true.
Oh my God, oh man, I'm gonna try to look it up because it's really funny. But we'll move on with the show while I do that, so that we don't have to
Yeah,
be
we
sitting
spent
here
all
in
this time
silence for.
talking about the leaks.
It's just really funny. Oh
Look,
my
guys,
God, like, could you just fucking imagine like doing all of this shit just for like $200 a month?
all I gotta say, man, to all of you viewing right now, these leakers aren't your friends, okay? You're just a view to them, all right?
Yeah, you're just there to get them a quick
Yeah.
ad click.
Not us though. We're your friends. And you
Yes.
should turn off your ad blocker if it's not off already.
It's so true. We're like a family here in the Goblin
Yeah.
Nation. So please
Goblin
turn off your
Nation.
ad blockers.
We're like a family, and you can also get behind the scenes family content if you subscribe to the Shonen and Chill Patreon.
Yes, which I probably should update because we haven't done anything for that in God only knows how long. All
I
right.
have never had the opportunity to do anything for the Patreon, so I'm innocent until proven guilty.
That's true. Yeah, we haven't relaunched the shout out to like the 3 people that still donate to that, by the way, because there are
You
like a couple
guys
people.
are
You
our
guys are
real
the
family.
legends. But no, I do want to start that back up. I don't know if we'll do the same thing as we did before, where people can just because the problem with the original thing was that like it took so long to set up and like have people vote on it, and then I would forget about it because it's out of sight, out of mind. So eventually we switched it over to we would just pick from the
Mhm.
suggestions. But then I don't want people to feel like, oh, I suggest every week and they never pick mine.
Oh yeah.
So, because that's like a shitty feeling, even if it's not something you're trying to do. So I don't
Here's
know. I'll have to figure something out. Maybe I'll ask the goblins and see if they have any good
here
ideas for what we should
the,
do.
the issue the issue with that is that reading is hard, man.
Yeah, dude, I have to
I'm
spend
not
an
kidding.
entire like 20 minutes reading this book every week. It takes a lot of my time.
I'm pretty sure I have ADHD. I live in America, so like I did try to get it checked out once, and they told me to go fuck myself because apparently, dude. Oh, that's a whole thing. I was so fucking sad and mad. I scheduled a psychiatrist appointment, and I took like I was on a wait list for like 2 months or something, of course, because uh, our free American system doesn't have wait times, of course. And then I finally got into the psychiatrist meeting. He like pre-screened me for ADHD and everything, and I had to take a blood test. And then he was like, "All right, I'll see you again next month." And I was like, "Okay, cool." I wake up next month, and then I get a call, and he's like, or like the assistant's like, "Yeah, sorry, we're canceling this appointment because actually you're not in network, even though you asked us 2 times if you're in network." So I got fucked over by the American healthcare system, as everyone does,
Dude,
and I'm
the
pretty
whole
sure
network shit is like
it's
I don't go
it's
to the doctor
insane.
because of that shit. Because it's in like I at one point went to the insurance company that I had because they'll do it for you. Like if you go to them
Mhm.
and you say, hey, can you like find me a doctor near here that's within
Mhm.
your shitty network? They'll do that. Um, it took like an hour and a half to finally find one that was both in network and also would see me, and I still ended up paying like $3,000 for the visit.
Holy
So
shit!
like, dude, it's such a shit show. And it was like for 2 X-rays. It was like a
Jesus
shitload of money.
Christ!
Yeah, so I'm like, dude, and that was with insurance after all the effort of
Yeah,
finding the place that would take me. So then it's
yeah,
like if you accidentally go to somewhere that's out of your network, you're just out of like $10,000 and they
yeah.
won't tell you until you're out of there.
I'm on Medi-Cal, which is like the California healthcare system or whatever. It's pretty ass, but I if I didn't have that, I would have nothing, and also I would have to pay the fucking tax penalty of having nothing.
Yeah.
And Medi-Cal is not taken by a lot of people because it's so like poorly funded. They don't pay a lot, so my options are so extremely small. So I was like, oh, I finally found something, and I can finally be on like the right track to fix my fucked up brain, and maybe I could sit down and read something for longer than 15 minutes before the fog creeps in. The fog is coming. Um,
I totally have it too. I've never gotten diagnosed, but I just know that I do. Because literally, when something is not in my face, it might as well not exist. Dog. Like I'm like an infant with my fucking object permanence. Like,
I have like I want to do these things. Like it sucks because like oh like I want to read the few chapters behind I am on ReZero. Oh, I would love to read all this shit, do all this shit, work on all this shit, but I just can't even get started. And so I got the psychiatrist meeting, and like I was really excited because even if it's not ADHD, right? They could put me on the right path to fix whatever the
yeah,
fuck is
figuring
wrong with
out
me.
whatever it is. Yeah.
And then it's just like one day I wake up, it's like, oh, sorry, you're not in network actually. So I want to stress, I asked when I was on the phone making the initial appointment, I was like, hey, you guys take Medi-Cal, right? And then I gave them my insurance information. They're like, yep. And then at the end of the call, I was like, I just want to make double sure my insurance, because I'm not, it's American health insurance. I'm not fucking around. Like, I'm not about to get a 10K
Don't take
bill.
the risk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't
I
take the
double
risk.
checked at the end. I was like, I know I already asked and all this, but I want to make sure you guys take my insurance, right? I gave them the insurance information again. They were like, yeah. And then like technically 3 months later, I get the call. Sorry, you're fucked. On the day of the appointment too.
Nice. I love that. That sounds like American healthcare.
And it's like I had to work through the weeds and the fog in my brain to make that appointment to begin with, and now I have to do it again. And I don't got that dog in me.
It's just not you're not that guy for this.
I'm I'm tapped out.
No, I totally get it, dude. Like I have to do a bunch of like my job is a lot of it is vocal, like I teach,
Hmm.
and so I talk a lot. But there's a lot of paperwork too. And as soon as I start doing that paperwork, my brain is like, "Hey, what the fuck is wrong with you?" And it just like is off, dude. I can I can teach classes like drop of a hat. Oh, you want me to do that? Yeah, I'll jump in and do it right now. I'll just I can go live at any point and just put on the showman face or whatever. Um, you ask me to fill out like 4 incident tickets, and it's going to take me 6.5 hours. It, the realistic amount of time that it should take is about, you know, 7 minutes. But just like I can't do busy work, dude. My entire brain just like turns off.
It's something I don't know what happened to me. Something like the last 6 months, my brain has been like fried. Like I have all these things I want to do, and then I go, yeah, I'll do it, and then it's like 3 a.m. and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to bed.
Yeah. I've been at the point where I'm like, uh-oh, I have to make sure that those tickets go in before work starts up on Monday morning, and I'll do them at like 11:30 p.m. on a Sunday. Like it's just a nightmare, dude.
Yeah, man, there's something wrong with us. That's why you guys should subscribe to the Patreon so we can afford American healthcare. That's called subsidization. Subsidization. Oh fuck, I can't pronounce it. God,
Subsidizing? I don't know.
subsidizing. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. That's the plan. You guys are
Yeah.
funding our ADHD meds. All right. Well, we've been talking for 40 minutes and we haven't named our top threes yet.
They know what it is.
Yeah, they know what it's like around these parts. I'm not even gonna break this up. You know what? I'm gonna post the timestamps exactly like this. 0.000 intro. 41 minutes. The first series. All right, what's your top three?
My top three is number three, Blue Box. Number two, I almost said One Piece. What the fuck is wrong with me? Number two is Chainsaw Man. Number one is
It's the
Kagurabachi.
ADHD clawing at your brain. You can't fucking get it out right. Yeah, my number three is Sakamoto. My number two is why am I blanking out on what my number two is? I already am like Chainsaw Man, and my number one is Kagurabachi.
Kagurabachi's so good, man.
It is really good. It's the only thing that I get up on Sunday and read it first thing in the day. Like I'll
It's the
I'll
only
read the
reason
other
why you get
stuff
out of
just like
bed on a Sunday.
for real. Like the other stuff I'll read but just before we get to the show because we don't record on like back especially in the Ocean Man days because the time zones were such a bitch.
Mhm,
I would literally wake up and like speed read that shit in like 15
mhm.
minutes and then be like, all right, we have 1 hour now before he has to go to bed to get up and do it. Now I just kind of, whenever before we record the episode, because we do not record these on Sundays anymore, just whenever we have time, I'll just read them, like when I'm just bored sitting around.
Yeah,
But
same.
Kagurabachi is the only thing that I will pick up on Sunday and read, like to see what happens.
Mhm.
Kagurabachi, we'll talk more about it in there, obviously, but in my opinion, it's the best weekly thing running right now.
True.
True and real. All right, let's get the obvious two that we have to talk about. I guess the obvious one, because has My Hero made a chapter in like 3 weeks?
My hero got axed, so we can move on.
Well, I don't even want to joke about it. I'm a little, because I'm like worried about it. Because didn't he took a week off, and then he had
And then he
like
took a sudden break.
and then
Yeah,
a
yeah.
sudden like sickness break. Yeah, so it's Horikoshi, so I'm a little bit in my head like, is
He's
he all
fighting
right?
for his
Like,
fucking. He's fighting for his fucking life, dude.
yeah, he's really out there in these streets
It's why
trying to get to the end.
every time someone's like, "Oh man, I can't wait for Hori's second manga," I can like let him not do anything for quite some time. And this isn't Hori slander. It's he has been writing a serialized manga for 10 years. Every week, let him do nothing for like a couple years.
Yeah, yeah. Let him do nothing for as long as he wants to do nothing, man. And My Hero's a huge hit. He's fine on money. You do what you got to do, man.
Yeah,
Don't make manga for a while.
yeah.
So I guess the only one that we actually have to talk about, because My Hero has not made a chapter since the last time we talked about it, is Jujutsu Kaisen.
um. So maybe I'm still coping, but like, is Kenjaku really done like that? Did he really go out like that?
I think so. It's weird because there's so many things that are not being touched on, and I think we talked about it last time with the Gojo thing with Megumi's dad and like
Hmm.
telling him about it, and then he was like, "Oh shit, I forgot I said that. I better say that Shoko's gonna do it." Just to like cover it up. I think there's a bunch of stuff like that he wanted to do, and then he was
Hmm.
like, "Fuck it, I don't want to do that anymore." Um, he's obviously been over JJK for a while. Um, and I don't mean that in that like the quality is bad now or whatever. I mean that like literally he's every year he's like, I hope I'm done this year. And I don't have to keep going. Like he just says, like, I would like to not keep doing this.
Like
Um,
Kenjaku going out like that, it's just it's mind-boggling.
I do not mind the way that he died. I actually think it's kind of neat that you have like this guy that you set up to be the big shit and he gets kind of just taken out. Um, I kind of like that aspect of it, but there was so much stuff about him that didn't get resolved. Like he's Yuji's mom, and that never came up again. Um,
He just feels like severely underutilized and underdeveloped, and then he just sort of dies.
And yeah, and then he gets his head cut off. And the problem is I feel like that's a lot of Jujutsu Kaisen characters now.
Of course.
Like, Higuruma, I think fits that bill. He had like one character trait, and then before he
But
got the chance to have any more of them, he got killed.
have you ever considered that death is the point? Foolish, foolish Zenrotto.
You're fired. Get out of here. No. Um, it's like I am not generally one who argues that like, oh, if you don't finish a character's arc before they die, that's automatically bad. Like I don't
No,
necessarily think that's true.
it just depends on how it's executed.
How it's executed, yeah. And in Jujutsu Kaisen, especially recently, it's really felt like a lot of the deaths just haven't hit, you know? Because like, say what I see people say all the time that like, oh, Junpei's death is not sad because we barely knew him. And I'm like, that's crazy to me. To think that a kid who's like so violently bullied into being a school shooter and then finally finds some friends and then he gets killed immediately is like not sad at all. Or like Mai. People saying that Mai's death is like not sad even a little bit. It's like she got killed by her dad for not being a good enough like woman servant to the old Japanese men. Like that's fucked up to me. That the story alone there is like that's something I think emotionally you should be able to get onto. But Higuruma was like the Japanese legal system sucks, and I died, and like that's it. And Kenjaku, like his whole thing was that he was like the mystery guy. Like he was on his
Yeah.
Aizen shit all the time. Oh, I've got a plan on a plan inside of a plan that I planned for 1,000 years ago, and then I fucked your dad. Like that's his whole thing. And then they were just like, oh, he got his head cut off, and then he exploded, and that's it. When he said like, oh, my will be inherited or whatever, I was like, okay, he's gonna like some other shit's gonna happen. He's gonna like show
Mhm.
back up later. And then apparently he just meant that Sukuna is the bad guy now. Like that's just what he
Yeah.
meant. Was that like, oh,
It
my
just
plan is
feels kind
also
of
Sukuna's plan now.
it's just weird, man. It's just fucking weird as hell. Um Other than that, though, I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I think from an action perspective, the chapter's really cool. Yuta's stuff has
Yeah.
been really cool.
Yeah.
Um, but as for like
I
a lot of it, I just don't know.
I liked that part with Yuta like having to convince himself that the situation was out of his control.
Hmm.
Um, it's a really interesting thing for him to do when he's contrasted with Yuji in this fight, who is like, "Oh, this is my fault. I should fucking kill myself like right now," you know.
Hmm.
Which is obvious that they had that conversation, I believe, too, after Yuta first, killed Yuji, where Yuta was like, I've been in a similar position and it's not your fault, and then Yuji was like, you don't get it, and then Yuta was like, no, I do. um, the two protagonists fighting the main antagonist is pretty cool. Uh, Yuta's domain is fucking badass.
Yes, it's one of my favorite domains in the series. It's super cool. Um,
And then,
they're
oh,
really
dude.
lucky in that fight with Ryu and Uro that that it got fucked up and he didn't do it. Fucking
And
blasted.
as I'm sure many of you are aware, his domain expansion led to a large amount of terminally angry people about Yuta's power level apparently being too strong.
Which I don't understand because he
And
was established from his very first moment literally in the prequel like story in Zero that he was like the shit. Like
the Venn diagram of Hikari fans calling Yuta too OP is a circle.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's weird because his power's the guy that copies powers.
Yeah.
Um, and the maybe the dumbest complaint that I saw about it was how come Yuta gets to use cleave, but Yuji doesn't get to use cleave? Gojo said he was gonna get cleave, but he said that in like chapter 9, and that shit ain't coming back. So I don't
Yeah.
know what to tell you. Like
I
he
remember
said that
oh dude,
eventually you'll get Sukuna's curse technique because he's been in your once he's in your body like long enough, but he's not in his body anymore. So maybe he just did it too soon and he didn't get the technique. That's all. Maybe.
there were a lot of people who were like Yuta's domain is too overpowered and I was like, "Buddy, that's what a domain is. That's the
Buddy,
point.
have you seen Gojo's domain?
Domains are overpowered. That's
Yeah,
what they
that's
do.
why would you have them if they weren't? What would the
They
point of it
are
being?
they are quite literally the trump card. They are like the haha fuck you
That's
die
why
now."
when you use it, you can't use your power anymore for a while
Yeah.
afterward because that's how powerful they are.
Modern day domains are just fuck you, you lose unless you're stronger than me, and then I lose.
Which you don't even need to like interpret anything to come to that conclusion because
Mhm.
they literally say it like 12
Yeah,
times. Remember the whole explanation that Tengen gives? That's like,
yeah.
yeah, old domains were more about like just kind of trapping your opponent and fighting.
Mhm.
Like they weren't there like the sumo guy or like I think Higuruma's they said was the same way. Is that his is like an older style domain where you just kind
Mhm.
of make the domain and then that way they kind of have to fight by your rules, but you're still
Mhm.
fighting. And then domains grew over time to just be like die, like that's it.
Yeah,
Like
I
to
do like that, by the way. The old domains were cool.
yeah, I like the concept also of the techniques growing over time into
Yeah,
being what
really
they need
cool.
to be. Like people kind of rag on cursed energy a lot as a power system, and personally I like it because I think that the way that they trace it from the old stuff to the new stuff and like the progression of how it happens, like Hollow Wicker Basket getting phased
Mhm.
out later on for the whatever the simple domain and
Simple
like
domain, yeah.
the blossom emotion stuff because like no none of the newer sources use wicker basket anymore because it's not as
Mhm.
good as simple domain. Like I think that's cool. um
It's crazy because like I don't even fuck with JJK like that. Like I don't deep JJK very often or anything like that. But I don't know, man. I think people are just bitching about Yuta for agenda.
yeah, well, like the agenda stuff was funny for like a week. um
Some of it was pretty funny. I like the art that someone drew where like Yuta was just pretending to have a domain expansion and
yes, that
everything.
was funny when he was like, guys, hang on. That
Yeah.
was funny. I think the agenda stuff was at its funniest in Sukuna versus Gojo. um because all we really had at that point was just them fighting for like
Yeah.
like it was weeks and weeks and weeks. It was like God, like 7 or was it 12 chapters, like 3 months straight of just them fighting. So it was almost like a pro wrestling match or something where it's like
Mhm.
it's just all the buildup is here. It's just hype back and forth. You want both sides to win. It's a constant tug of war thing. But it feels like afterward, all the stuff with like oh, Yuta's a fraud. Oh, Hakari's a fraud. Oh, Sukuna is
Half that's true.
Mr. Plot Kuna or whatever is like it almost feels like a really sad attempt to recapture that weekly thing with like Gojo versus Sukuna,
Yeah,
um,
that's a good point.
which it doesn't do a very good job of. But I think the problem too is that it's become such a thing that so many people legitimately actually think it about Yuta now, I think. That like
Yeah,
oh he
like
he doesn't deserve to be as strong as the story has always said that he is from day
people
one
thought the narrative was just fucking around. I guess when every single time it called him, oh, the second strongest person in the fucking
in
story.
the whole world. Yeah, people
Yeah.
are so mad about that too. Like oh Yuki's obviously stronger. Yeah, well tell that to like she got axed by Kenjaku in like 2 seconds. What are you talking about? And again, like it's the narrator. The narrator makes the rules, and you should probably just listen. Like I don't know
Yeah.
what to tell you other than that.
Pretty straightforward, man. Utah's badass. You guys just gotta accept it.
Yeah, he's just kind of him. Like that's just kind of how it is. He is him. All right, let's move on to some top threes here. Let's talk about Blue Box first.
Oh yeah, that's in my top three. I liked that moment where Taiki like wanted to tell her why she was wrong about like putting all the blame on herself, and then was just like, you know what, man, I'm just gonna let her have it. Like I'm just gonna let her cry about it. Literally, she's feeling crushed. She needs to let her. She needs to let it all out and just like let her cook. Right.
Right, yeah. Which I,
I
I
think it's
see
cool.
one thing that I think that Blue Box does really well, even though it was not in my top three this week, I did think it was really good.
Hmm.
Um, one thing I think it does really well is that it portrays relationships in like a realistic and almost in some ways idealistic kind of way.
Hmm.
Because a lot of what they do is like a healthy way that you should treat one another that a lot of people
Hmm.
don't. Um, like her feeling bad that that they lost and she's saying it's all her fault and if she didn't get hurt they could have won and because
Hmm.
she lost or she got hurt and she got pulled out of the game that was their chance of winning gone. It's because she's the star player and like to everyone but her that's obvious nonsense, right? But to her like it hurts the same regardless. So is telling her oh the way you feel is silly and you shouldn't feel that way actually beneficial? Or should you just let her feel the way that she needs to feel? And
Yeah.
then once she's done, you can, approach making her feel better. Like, I think a lot of people, especially with, be it significant others or close friends or whatever it is,
Mhm.
they always want to jump to solutions, right?
Mhm.
Someone will come to you and say, hey, this happened to me. I'm really upset about it. And your immediate thought is, person that matters to me is sad. How I make happy now.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's really the way that you always should do things. Like obviously it comes from a good place. Like it's not
Of
a
course. Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
a shitty behavior, but I think it can be very unintentionally belittling at times, and I think that sometimes you just need to let people feel what they got to
Yeah.
feel.
Exactly. And I completely sympathize with her. Like she feels completely fucked out of being able to put in like all of her practice into practice. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah, you feel fucked over about that, of course. And if somebody came along and be like, "Oh no, it's okay," you'd be like, "No, it's not. It's not. It's not okay. It sucks."
Yeah, like no matter whether or not you think that she's justified in her logic for why she thinks that way, that doesn't change the fact that she does feel that way. And
Yeah.
like on some level, you got to let her have it, like let her process it, let her telling her you're silly for being this miserable is just going to make her miserable and feel like you don't give a shit or you think she's dumb while she
Taiki
still
turns to
feels
her.
miserable.
Taiki turns to her, looks her in the eyes, and says that facts don't care about your feelings.
Oh, you want to play basketball and your family's moving? Why don't you all just sell your house and move?
If he said that, Blue Bucks would have been top one this week. That's all I'm gonna
Oh,
say.
easily, yeah. Yeah, red pilled Taiki.
Yeah. Blue Box has an arc where Taiki gets fucking red pilled online.
She just starts spitting Shapiro quotes at her.
That's the author's next idea. Is like, I don't know how to keep doing this sports shit, so Taiki is
Maybe
gonna
you
make
wouldn't
a
have
truth
twisted your
social
ankle
account.
if it wasn't because there's some trans people on the other team.
Taiki gonna look her dead in the eyes and be like, "Well, it's okay because women weren't made to play sports anyway."
Yeah, obviously, I didn't get hurt in my sport because as a man, my body is built for athletics. It's just Shapiro Taiki, please. Oh my God, I need it now.
I'll submit it to the author. I'll see what I can do. It's a good idea.
Put a good word in, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be like, "Have you ever thought about like red pilling the fuck out of Taiki?"
Have
Like,
you ever thought about ruining your series real quick
you
by
ever,
just making Taiki a huge red-pilled asshole?
you ever thought about having a little sub arc where he makes a truth social account and then at first he's just like, I'm just looking, I just want to see what they're talking about." And then like the week after that, he starts talking about like tax regulations and how like they're too strict and shit.
I think Trump had a point. I really think there was some election fraud in America.
Like 2 weeks later, he's like, I don't know. It's just something about the border. I feel like maybe we do need a wall down there. And like, you're in Japan, dude.
And you don't even live there. He just like he comes to the gym early one day and he's like, Shinatsu, have you ever heard of Gamergate? And that's just the rest of his character from that point
he
forward.
just he just becomes like Ian Miles Chong, where he just like starts getting way too invested in like American
And then the
politics
series ends with him getting executed by the Malaysian authorities.
for sedition. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where Blue Box ends. It's like he just gets murdered by the Malaysian police.
Let us know in the comments if you guys would like to see a fan fiction about this.
We'll
A
get our
fan
best
fiction,
writers on it.
fan fiction where Taiki gets executed for sedition by the Japanese authorities.
We've got our top goblins on it right now. They're working it out.
Anyway, yeah, Chainsaw Man, right? Yeah.
Sakamoto next, actually.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Sakamoto,
Yeah.
Sakamoto.
Again, it's just the rawness and swag tax. I have nothing about it to
Yeah,
say, other than the shit was really fucking cool. I like
that was
Shin being cool, by the way. Like
yeah.
he's the most like underdog come up character in this, except like the sniper guy too, maybe. But
Yeah, I
um,
saw Twitter going wild over that panel of him catching the. I mean, it was
catching
cool.
the
It was
thing and
cool.
crushing it, oh, it's so
That
cool.
was cool.
It's so sick. I'm really looking forward to
I
that.
that little scene was interesting where Sakamoto was like, "Why am I still alive?" compared to everyone else. That was unexpected but interesting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole series, like, it's one of those things where, like, I think people give it a lot of crap because you can't write a Buddhist think piece about it. Um, but at the same time, like, man, it's just too cool. It's just too cool.
It's pretty cool, yeah. I just don't go into it. Like when I open up a Sakamoto Days chapter, I'm not like, okay, I'm expecting a Kagurabachi tier fucking meta statement on literary analysis. I know I open up. Can you hear that outside my
I
window?
cannot.
Okay, we're good then. Uh, I open up Sakamoto Days and I'm like, they're gonna fight and it's gonna be badass. And then I'm gonna close the manga and I'll be like, that was cool.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm here for. And I guess you could say that it's like shallow or whatever. But
There's crumbs of
I think my
stuff.
counterpoint to that is who gives a shit? It's a comic book.
Yeah, there's crumbs of some substance every now and again, and I don't deep Sakamoto at all, so I don't remember them. But this was one of
Hmm.
them where
Yeah,
Sakamoto's like, "Why am I still alive?" That's a cool little crumb there.
it was yeah, it was cool. I
The
enjoyed it.
Sakamoto Days author wakes up and he's like, "I'm gonna draw the coolest fucking thing I've ever thought of," and he does it every single day of his life.
It really is what it feels like. Is he's just like, you know what? I think I'm going to have a guy with a hammer fight a woman who shoots nails today. I
And
think
then
today that's what I will do.
the editor is like, you gotta like create connective tissue between these two moments, and he's like, "Fine." And then they'll fight along the way, and the editor's like, oh, "Okay, sure, whatever."
He's like, yeah, fine, yeah, whatever you need. Sure. Oh, people like this? Yeah, whatever you want. Yeah, fine. But again, the Sakamoto Days sections are unfortunately woefully short due to this.
Sorry,
So
guys.
sorry.
Sakamoto Days still no anime, surprisingly.
Yeah, that is weird to me. I don't know. I hope they get it soon. We forgot to talk about Kaiju number 8 anime of going up on Twitter.
Oh yeah,
I'm hijacking the Sakamoto segment so we can make it look like it's longer. Um,
that key visual looks terrible.
it
By
looks
the way,
terrible. Uh, at what point were they like, you know what? Yeah, I think it's actually a good idea to release our anime exclusively on a platform which is not a streaming platform in any way. Um, what do they think is going to happen here? Do they think that they're going to like start a crazy trend and it's going to just blow up and all the anime is going to come to X?
it's just like when Mr. Beast premiered his video on Twitter. Actually,
It's
Mr. Beast and Kaiju number 8 are paving the way for Elon Musk's video streaming service. Thank you very much.
I can't wait for the crossover. Mr. Beast number 8.
Maybe Mr. Beast will voice the protagonist.
Dude, we have a Roku. I forget. Well, we have it for the fucking Great British Baking Show. The show's great. Um, it's on Roku, and there's like apparently Mr. Beast has a show on that, which I think is just his YouTube videos, but you can watch them on
Wow.
Roku. And I'm like, dude, what kind of world are we living in where like you become like one of the richest people that I've ever fucking seen, just making YouTube videos, and then you just go to other streaming platforms and they're like, yeah, what if you also put your videos here? Like everyone already knows what YouTube is. Like I'm not saying competition is bad. I'm just saying why would you ever subscribe to Roku to watch Mr. Beast when you
correct
could
me. Correct me
just
if I'm wrong, because I might be misremembering. But didn't Mr. Beast premiere his video on Twitter and then go, "Well, that wasn't worth it."
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because Elon was literally like, you remember that one game that I don't remember the name of that kept tweeting at MatPat and was like,
Oh, hello neighbor.
yes, that. And they're like, oh, it would be crazy if MatPat took a look at
Oh,
our game.
guys. Oh, if Matt Pat sees this one, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, shit.
Elon was doing that, but to Mr.
Yeah.
Beast. And then Mr.
Mr.
Beast was
Beast
like,
threw him a bone,
okay.
bro.
Yeah, he was like, all right, well, I'll do my video here first, and we'll see if the ad rev is good enough compared to what I normally get. And then he was like, it sure wasn't. That's even though I'm pretty sure Elon was like pushing that video still, even after all that, because like I saw that shit everywhere, and I don't interact with anything Mr. Beast, like, and that shit was all over my feed. So I don't know, man, but yeah, I don't know what the plan is. I don't know why me or myself as like the publishing company behind Kaiju number 8 was like, "Oh yeah, why don't we release our product on a system that is certainly going to flop immediately?" I would love to do that. That's a great it must just be like if it doesn't flop, great, and if it does, who cares? Because we don't care about Kaiju number 8. That's the only thing I can think of
It's like
as to
I'm
why
not
you
at
would
all
do it.
invested in the success of this property. Let's go ahead and send it to. Let's go ahead and send it to fucking Twitter. It's like Undead Unluck going to fucking Disney Plus.
Did it?
Yeah.
Why?
It still airs. It still airs on TV in Japan, of course, but
But
in the
it's on
states, it's
Disney
only on
Plus
Disney
over here.
Plus. I think something like that, right? Am I misremembering? I might
I
be. Hang
don't.
on.
I don't know. I haven't watched it on because I hear it sucks. So I haven't even touched it.
I pirated. It's Disney Plus. Yeah.
Okay, that's crazy.
That's fucking deranged.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I guess everyone wants a piece of the pie because like anime is pretty big, right? Like it's not a little niche thing. Um, but like, what the hell? Why would you? Disney Plus is not as bad as Twitter though. Like
Of course. Can you hear it now?
that's
By the way,
another
can you
level.
hear the? Can you
I
hear the
did hear
honking
it
in my
now.
back?
I still don't know what it is, but I did hear sound.
there's 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 this guy who has like a little snack cart and he comes through my apartment complex every day and he honks the horn for all the kids to come out and buy the snacks.
Oh, that's adorable. Oh, that's great. That's good stuff.
So if you guys
We
hear
should
that, that's what's happening.
get him to sponsor the show.
Yo, I'll lean out my window and be like, yo, you know Shonen and Chill? And
You ever
then
seen Shonen and Chill? How about we put a sticker on your snack card?
how about I put a little Chihiro with his sword drawn on your cart? There he goes. He likes it. He likes it. He only communicates through the horn.
Oh my God, we need a new sponsor after Shinzo Abe got gotted.
Snack man coming in clutch, bro.
Yeah, I hope Snackman doesn't get hit by the thingamajiggy
that, was,
afterward.
that was a long time. We've been sponsorless for a long fucking
I
time, man.
know,
Holy
dude.
shit.
That's the real reason we only do 2 episodes a month now, is because we don't have the funding from Shinzo to keep it up.
Let me hit up Disney Plus. Maybe we can go on Disney Plus.
Oh my God. All right. All right. Next is Chainsaw Man.
The chapter was cool. God, I hate how short they are, dude.
Yeah, it's weird because obviously they're not like any different number. I mean, I guess this was only 16 pages, but that's still like close enough. But
Oh
it
my god, like
feels like
I,
nothing moves despite a bunch of
yeah,
stuff happening. It feels like we have not gone anywhere.
and I did like this one despite its brevity. Um, I liked the nature versus nurture thing with Nayuta. Understanding that she was Makima, and then I'm gonna go down the same path, and then actually growing with Denji and being like completely changed in her goals and her relationship with him. CSM when it focuses on its characters is really good. It's what I enjoyed most about part one, and sometimes I feel like that's what it's missing from part two. It's just like a cool cast that I'm invested in. There's Denji and Asa, not to be confused with me, and then there's Nayuta, and then it doesn't really feel like it's too expanded beyond that.
No, and to be fair, I think the cast in the original was also not super expansive as far as who they dove into. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that they were still like cool in their own way. Like, Kishibe is a character that doesn't get a whole ton of
Mm-hmm.
attention, but the little bit that he got was really good. Like the early stuff with Himeno was good. Like
Mm-hmm.
a character who kind of was only in there for like one arc just to be a character and then die, just to showcase like, hey, the world's really shitty actually. Was really good. And now I do like Asa. Denji's obviously still good. I really like Nayuta. But I don't think that anyone outside of the core clutch of characters is particularly memorable in really any way at
Yeah.
all. Maybe the octopus guy whose name I can't remember anymore, which obviously is not a good argument for maybe he's memorable. Um, but I feel like even the characters who were not the main characters had interesting quirks about them that made you like interested in them, like
Mm-hmm.
Kobeni, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's like nothing. She's a nothing character. But everyone remembers her because she has cool moments and she does neat stuff, and it feels like there's cohesiveness going on with all these characters. Whereas with Chainsaw Man Part 2, it just kind of feels like the world is happening at Denji and Asa, like all the time, you know?
Yeah, I don't feel like part two just has enough character substance for me. I do like the stuff with Denji, of course, and also, but like I want more. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like we get enough of it. What we get is
Yeah,
good. I just wish we got more of it.
The first thing I saw when I woke up and read the chapter was people going like, "Oh, I hope Nagisa isn't dead. That'd be ass." I doubt she's dead. That'd be
I don't
insanity.
think she's dead. No. Um,
Genuine like insanity writing if he's dead or if she's dead, and I don't think that's not happening.
no. Yeah. The odds of her being dead or here, I think, are pretty slim. I
Yeah.
don't know if maybe she has like a, oh, I have to channel my terrible old self to like get out of
Hmm.
this, and she like, she's obviously not going to be very chill with Denji after this because he just left her to die. Um, I mean, I guess she told him to run, but still.
Now, there's also the discourse about the gun, and
Yes.
my response is, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, my response is that I
Sincerely,
can't possibly care any less about this. Dr. Stone did this all the time.
I don't know why I should care. I don't care, man. Like,
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the argument even really is. Um, or like what the point people are trying to make is when talking about it. I don't
oh
know if they're trying to
no,
say like, oh, Fujimoto's a bad artist actually, which like shut the fuck up, idiot.
oh no, a manga author cut a corner to maybe save himself some time and energy. I don't give a shit. Like, it
I
doesn't.
don't care at all. Yeah. Oh, that gun is photocopied. Oh, okay. Like, what? What are you talking about? I don't know. I can't imagine caring about it, but it seems to get discourse every time it comes up. So
It's never gonna be on my radar. The only time it's on my radar is because people don't shut the fuck up about it, and that's it.
yeah, I don't even really have anything to say about it because it's just confusing to me, like how
Yeah.
you could possibly care about this thing. But
Mm-hmm.
more power to them, I guess. People need to bitch about something on the internet to feel like they're getting through their day.
Yeah, it's silly. Um, I support authors cutting corners.
Yeah, it's not like it impacts the story.
Yeah,
I can't imagine
it's just a
looking at that
gun.
gun and being like, "Oh my God!" It it reminds me of the fucking yellow paint debacle. Like, really? That's where you're gonna hang your hat? This thing sucks now. Is this tiny
uh,
irrelevant detail? This is what you're worried about? But I don't
yeah,
know.
it's
People have to
silly.
bitch online because that's what gets discourse, I guess.
I saw a tweet that was like everyone on AniTwit like postured about caring about mangaka health for like one day when
Yeah,
Berserk's author died.
when Berserk's author died, everyone was like, "Okay, we are all
Yeah,
agreeing that we're not doing this again," and then now we're doing it again for the 100,000th time.
yeah. Even if I'm like the least charitable I could be, and Fujimoto was just lazy, I still don't care.
Yeah, because like everyone cuts corners at their job.
Yeah.
Like that's just a thing that you'd obviously do all the time. I don't know. Yeah, just fuck it.
Let's move on to Peak.
Is it time? Is it time to move back into peak fiction? All right,
Yeah,
let's talk about Kagurabachi.
anime announced airing tomorrow. 300 episodes. Arena Fighter announced.
No, Kagurabachi is going to be the one that finally gets the 2D fighter that everyone's clamoring about and wants. Dragon Ball Fighter's canceled for Kagurabachi. Um,
Yeah, they decided to just like put all the development files for that new Tenkaichi game just in the trash, and then they're making Kagurabachi instead.
dude, I love Kagurabachi so much. I like the new guy. I think he's funny. I think
Yeah,
he
he's
is.
cool.
I think he's a good addition to a cast of like Chihiro's obviously the serious one, and then his teammate guy is kind of silly, but not like that funny. This guy is a proper silly guy.
I
Um,
really liked seeing Chihiro absorb that lightning from a different POV. That was really cool, and
that was
seeing how that
such a
inspired
cool
him.
like
That's really cool
thing.
too. I am very shocked that even if it's just a temporary thing, that we're dedicating to Chihiro not having an arm.
Yeah,
I
that he's
am
just
very
got
surprised.
minus one arm.
Yeah. It makes me think of I don't know how familiar you are with like the Walking Dead comics.
Um,
Um,
you're talking about Rick with his hand.
yeah, Rick lost his hand early on in the series, and Robert Kirkman, the author, at some point was like, "That was a fucking mistake.
Yeah, I remember
That
him saying
sucked."
like, "I wish I didn't do that."
Yeah, that was a goof. And then in the TV show, he never lost it. Because it just sucked. He didn't like writing around the hand. He didn't like having to draw the missing hand. Sometimes he would forget and fuck that up too. So he was like, I just shouldn't have done that. It was just more work than it was worth. So I wonder if Chihiro will miss the arm for which would be insane forever, or if there will either be like Char will progress enough to be able to, I don't know, maybe they got like his arm in a fucking freezer under his bed or something, and they can just attach it, or there will be some like superpower arm. Like I remember when Deku first went 100% against Shigaraki in PLW, people were like, "Oh, he's gonna lose an arm. He's gonna have like a Black Whip arm."
That didn't happen.
No, in fact, it was way shittier. But I wonder if it'll be something like that for Chihiro, or he'll have some like power manifested arm.
Maybe like through his sword, or like the magic stone that
Yeah,
only accepted his father, and maybe Char and him will both get that, and like they'll touch one of those, and
yeah.
it'll regrow his arm or something. I don't know.
And I really liked how Chihiro, with this dude he just met like 15 seconds ago, like just owned up to being scared instantly. Like he feared what his inaction or a lack of capability could lead to, because it's not easy to save people, right? And I liked how he thought back to Sojo in that moment. It was like, what if I can't save those people? Wouldn't Sojo's idea or interpretation of his dad's art be reinforced even after his death? Very cool. Um, and there was a phrase, tragedy upon wielding a sacred blade or whatever, and then he thinks of Sojo again. Like, I really fuck with it if Sojo's existence and ideology about the sword just like haunts him forever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the one where the new person says because the new person is saying like, oh, that group that went to fight Sojo, this is what happened to all of them. Like everyone's dead.
Yeah,
This dude's like crippled.
yeah,
And
and
this
like,
tragedy is what happens when people have those swords. And
yeah,
his immediate
and
thought is like Sojo is right for a second there.
Chihiro's gonna have to carry this the entire time. But on the flip side, this new guy that's with him is living, breathing proof of Chihiro's appreciation of the art of the sacred blade, right? Someone
Hmm.
saved by Chihiro's idea of it. Um, I also his facial expression when he says that, like, "Oh, Chihiro, you saved me," and he just hits him with like the default face.
I love the meme that's like his vaguely homophobic face, where it's like, because have you seen those?
Yeah,
Yeah, where it's someone made one finally where every time someone says something and he hits them with the default face with the question mark, they put a little rainbow flag next to the question mark. It's so fucking funny. But yeah, no, I like the new guy. I like the character interactions. I'm glad that Sojo is not just like a starter villain and now he's gone forever.
yeah.
I'm glad that they're referencing and bringing
Hmm.
him back at least even a little bit, you know. Um,
Hmm.
I like the new person whose name escapes me at this exact moment.
Yeah,
Haruki or something like that.
them fighting over the idea that like it's kind of like a different interpretation. Oh, like these weapons should be wielded by the state rather than individual justice. That's cool. And we obviously know that their power is heavily regulated because they had to get approved to use it from what was it, the chest up or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's insane. That power must be crazy.
Yeah, well, because you got to remember that they're sending this person. We don't actually know if it's a boy or a girl. It's up for debate. They're sending this person after Chihiro, who they think killed. Well, he did. Who killed Sojo? Who they
Hmm.
know killed like six of their dudes, one
Yeah.
on six, and they're still like, you can have half of your power, but don't you dare use any more than that. So this Flamebone must be
Yeah.
insane.
And yeah, it makes sense why, that person would be fighting for weapon regulation, considering that their weapon has to be heavily regulated. They probably know
Yeah.
firsthand, hey, these shits crazy, bro. Like,
Yeah, these shits are
pack it up.
serious. Yeah. It's cool. Also, I like that it's not another sword. I like that it's like a
Yeah.
armored fist. I think it's I was a little worried we were going to go the Bleach route and it was like, "Oh my God, everyone's just a sword like sword fighting." Even though they established in the beginning that like swords are a rarity and actually a lot of people just use
Mhm.
magic. I was worried we were going to go the route of just like everybody's that we're fighting is a sword guy. I'm
Mhm.
glad that didn't happen because I think that the flaming like giant arm looks fucking cool.
Yeah. Kagurabachi fucking slaps.
It's so good. I love how well he can just like convey points without needing to spell it out. That's something that I value immensely
Yeah.
in an artist. Like even the first time we meet the new guy and he's in that cafe and he's doing the scene where he sees Chihiro tank the lightning bolt from
Mhm.
his POV, and he's like, all you got to do to be okay is grit your teeth and bear it. And then he's immediately slack jawed to the point that all of his drink falls out of his mouth. Absolutely
Yeah.
not gritting. It's like, it's literally just such a funny, good visual way to show that this guy is not okay, despite the fact that he's acting like it is. Because his whole
Yeah.
statement is like, clench your jaw, grit your teeth, and power on through. And he's like slack jawed, all of his shit just
But it
leaking
don't
out of his
work.
mouth. It's so good. It's so good. I love
It is
Kagurabachi.
what it. You can only get so far with it. Is what it is. You know.
It's just like, oh, man, Man, this series bangs. I can't believe people still
I
try
know.
to say it's not good. You guys are idiots.
I'm working on a Kagurabachi video right now.
Are
It's
you?
finally time. It's finally time to spread it to the masses. I already got the outline written up, dude.
What's the subject? Can we get the spoiler here? Or
It's basically just gonna start talking about how it started as a meme, and then
became the goat?
it became what it is now. And I also plan on diving into what I talked about last podcast and just death of the author and stuff.
I love that. I love that. We will be watching. We will be seated.
Oh, I can't wait for it to flop. But you know what?
Not your
I
target audience. It's gonna crash and
got
burn.
the got to talk about the goat. That's what matters. Is there anything else we got to talk about today?
No, I don't think so. Um, I think that's it. I think that's another one in the bag. People are going to be very confused by these timestamps. I'm very excited for the. Well, we have to get. Every time I post an episode, we get 9 comments immediately. That's always just different people saying, this chapter of this series was good this week, um, which is fine. It helps the algorithm, so by all means keep doing it. But
Yeah.
I always keep clicking on it, going, ooh, I wonder what someone said. And I'm like, oh, wait, right. We have to get 37 of these before any actual comments
Yeah.
come through. So we'll see what someone says an hour after the video goes up because that's when real comments start rolling in
Mhm.
about the funny timestamps. But I think that's all I got.
All right.
All right,
See you
well
guys
then,
when this gets uploaded on March 1st.
yeah, that's the plan. We'll catch you all in the next one.